We're here with Ferri Maya and Zia Electric. Both are local burlesque performers. Ferri has worked overseas, mostly in the UK.
Yep.
Yeah?
That's right.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you came back to Melbourne 2 years ago.
4 now.
4 years ago?
4 years, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you two have done a lot of shows together, I've heard.
Yeah, we both do Burlesque Rock, which is Ferri's creation. So I came on board, I think, early last year.
Yep.
Yep. So we've done a few Burlesque Rock shows, mostly at Yaya's, which is in Collingwood.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's been great. So Ferri likes to mix classic and modern burlesque together. We perform before the bands, so she gets bands on as well, hence why it's called Burlesque Rock.
Yay!
Yes, as you said, I'm a burlesque performer. I focus mainly on neo-burlesque, which is more of a modern take on traditional burlesque. So I suppose most people, when they think of burlesque, is they probably think of performers like Dita Von Teese, who's very pin-up and very classical sort of 1930s to 1950s style burlesque, your feathers and glitters and garters and all that sort of stuff. But neo-burlesque focuses on, it incorporates a lot of different stuff. It can incorporate all sorts of different styles of dance, from jazz to contemporary to lyrical, and it can incorporate lots of different characters as well. Which can be anything, the possibilities are endless. So it's very much a theatrical style of burlesque.
Yeah, and it's something where it's a little bit more like you don't know what to expect. Like the performance you did of Wednesday Addams going to Gomez and Morticia, and even the dance style was, unique compared to what I've seen before in burlesque performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a mixture of keeping the character, so being an actor and a dancer at the same time. So it's almost like mini musical theatre in a way, without the singing.
Great. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I read that you do a lot of like science fiction kind of stuff and digital technology stuff. Is that correct? Yeah.
So apart from doing sort of burlesque events, I also do electronic dance music events as well. Like I'm a performer at Earthcore, so a lot of it is LED sort of costumes and dancing to a lot of trance sort of music. So that's why science fiction is like a really great crossover with electronic dance music, especially since it's such a growing industry as well. There's lots of fans out there of that kind of music. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And what would you say about, because neo-burlesque, that's obviously a very new thing in Australia. How is that emerging locally in Melbourne?
I think it's gaining more and more popularity as the years go on. I think in Australia, the neo-burlesque troupes were developing at a fast pace in the early 2000s, and now it's just a continual growth. It's becoming more and more popular. And
And what kind of venues could someone go to if they wanted to see neo-burlesque, or how could they tap into that?
It's spread out a lot in this sort of CBD area and the sort of north side of the city, like Fitzroy and Thornbury and that sort of area. So a place like there's a bar, 24 Moons in Thornbury, which hosts a lot of different burlesque events. So, at least a few times a month there's something there to see for burlesque. Places like the 86 in Collingwood also run a lot of burlesque events there. There's no specific burlesque bars at this stage in Melbourne, so it's more bars sort of hosting burlesque troupes and solo burlesque performers as well.
And you've won a lot of awards.
I won a couple.
Are they all locally or
all local? Yeah,
all local.
Yeah. So I just received second place at Burlesque Idol last year, and I made top 5 finalists for the Miss Burlesque Victoria competition. So
wow,
that was great.
Yeah. And I saw you were doing the
silk aerials.
Yeah, the silk aerials. So you obviously have a wide array of training and skills. Like you do that, you do dance. Like where did you train? Where did you learn all of this?
So at the moment, you know, with silk aerials, it's consistent training. You've got to keep the momentum up, got to keep the body strong. So I do that down in Oakley at a little studio there. It's a sort of, it's only run by one guy, so there's not that many people there. But so I do that down in Oakley, and also I do fire performance as well. That's all. I actually did that at university. I did my degree in performing arts, and decided to focus on fire as part of my sort of as part of my learning. And I just kept going with that from uni, and then there's the dance and acting training as well. So
what are you most excited about at the moment about burlesque that you're doing? Are there any new tricks you're focusing on, or any new sort of I'm just
really loving just combining the different mediums of performance into burlesque. So incorporating the silks into my performance, or incorporating the fire, or I also do poi as well. So just to make it sort of an all-around entertaining show, not just about one sort of motive. Like in my own opinion, it's not just about stripping and things like that. I think it's a lot of different things. The stripping is definitely an important part of it, just to explore your sexuality and all that. But I think it's enhanced with a lot of others. It can be enhanced with a lot of other
and it's
stuff.
also very sexy too, doing silk
Absolutely,
stuff and like that Wednesday Addams thing, that was hot. Like definitely,
absolutely, yeah. There's more than one way to express your sexuality. So, yeah.
Reset.
I'm out of here. Get out of here. You're going to do solo. I got to do solo.
You got to walk a Cuban dog around.
I did.
Yeah, was that the first time you did?
How does that?
Yes, I have been in one fetish film clip before, but I was the cat. So someone was patting me.
So you're on the other end this time?
I'm on the other end where I get to dominate a dog. Or puppy. I felt sorry for him. Okay. Stop begging.
So what is combining classic and modern burlesque? Like what would that be?
So that's just varied in the artists that I choose to perform for the night. So I do have one main classic performer that's with me throughout the whole time, and that's Betty. And then and then I just change it up with the different artists, what their backgrounds are, if they're like a neo or a classic performer, and then
So neo burlesque is like modern burlesque.
Yep.
I always think of something like that as postmodern, because it almost deconstructs itself and then flips it on its head with all these new additions and stuff like that. And you won an award in the UK, Miss Burlesque.
I did. I was one of the Miss Burlesque Idol girls. That was before it came to Melbourne. So now it's here. So I think it's in its third year now in Melbourne. So it's fantastic. It's a great healthy competition. Everyone who does it is fantastic. The girls behind it are from the UK, like they worked with it in the UK and now they've brought it here. So it's really it's a good competition.
I think Burlesque Idol is great because it really encourages people to get in, like the audience to get into the show, because it's how the voting works is 70% audience vote, 30% judges vote. So really it is the audience pick. So it's a lot more relaxed, and you never know what people are going to like. So you can't really go with a specific criteria because everyone's criteria are so subjective. So
So you just kind of go in there and do your own thing and...
it's like a little bit different. Like there's no actual rules set, as in this is what your classic section should look like, this is what your neo section should look like, this is what a unique section should look like. It's basically... You've got a time frame, and it's like you need to work within that time frame, and you can do anything. So if Zia felt like getting up and doing some silks with some poi, she can. That's not going to go for her or against her, if that makes sense. So that way it's great exposure. Performers can be themselves and really show who they are in that competition, which is great. Not to say in any other competition they can't. They can, but... they're not restricted. If that makes sense.
Rules.
And who would you like? Because I was talking to you earlier in Zia, and you were sort of explaining what you do, neo burlesque, and things that you work with. What about yourself, Ferri?
I don't even know. I kind of fit into a weird category. I am neo, but I incorporate a lot of rock music within my style, and I still base my choreography around a classic style, I suppose. And that's mainly because of my dance background and my brain thinking all in counts, if that makes sense. So certain things gel. But as far as my music selection, I do use a lot of local bands within my performances. So one of my show reels has got a local Melbourne band called Dallas Frasca. I dance to a lot of songs by another local band called the Ugly Kings. So I try and incorporate Melbourne-based rock performers within my act, if that makes sense, whether that be them, well, obviously it'll be their music, whether it's for show reels, performances, or to be a part of Burley Rock as a live performance.
Great.
Yeah.
How would you compare the burlesque scene in Melbourne to London? Is it growing? Is it, I have no idea. I know nothing about burlesque.
It is. London, I think London and anywhere overseas, you've got so many different performers, so many places to perform at. It's never-ending jobs. It's very, how should I say, they're very fair in the sense of they know who their performers are. In London, it was very much like a rotation thing, okay, we had these guys this time, we'll grab these guys next time. So you're forever in a job, if that makes sense. With Melbourne, I feel like we have our spurts of this growth period, and then we go back to there's not much happening, and then it will spurt again. So, I don't know, it can grow and then it doesn't, I suppose. So, but there's heaps going around in saying that. There's heaps of burly girls putting on their own shows, which is great to go and see at 24 Moons and, other venues around.
So it's almost like in Melbourne, being a burlesque performer, you're somewhat an entrepreneur as well because you're generating your own work. Where in London you really didn't need to do that. You just kind of went, I need a job, I need a dance. All right, we'll just slot you in here.
And that's why I think me and Ferri and other burlesque performers as well, we don't just have the one thing that we can do. We've got several different skills, and you kind of need to do that to sort of find the work. And
absolutely. And what are some of your best skills? Would you say the things that you're strongest at in burlesque?
I do fans, so I love my fans. Also, other than that, I do other things, I do pole. So I do pole, and I've just started contortion classes, so I'm going to try and put that into my acts. I come from a really strong dance background, so I studied full-time dancing and I did my performance arts degree, and I teach. So
where do you teach?
So I'm a secondary school teacher. But also I dance in a little school called Kilo Jazz. I teach there. I teach first year jazz students, and I also do some classes at Bottoms Up every now and again.
What's Bottoms Up?
It's a pole and burlesque school in Brunswick.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, girls. It's been so lovely chatting with you both. Yeah. All right. Well, Burlesque in Melbourne with Zia Electric and Ferri Maya.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yay.